Good afternoon and welcome to Coffee and Conversations. And it is afternoon, by the way. We're not doing this in the morning. It is Monday. I say it's 2 p.m. It's 3 p.m. now, Central Standard Time. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations. Pull up a chair. Grab yourself a late afternoon coffee. Get you a sip. Join us. Go to ToledoRidge.com at some point. Check out our podcast there. And go check out the vlogs as well. We are delighted today to have Stuart Shoemake along with us. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Myself, I'm Jason Goodson. I'm here with Johnny Taylor. And we're glad to have you. Stu, how is Hattiesburg?
Hattiesburg is doing well.
Yeah.
Just going through some, of course, work and school and such, and wife's pregnant, and
that's brand new news, by the way, folks. He's going to be.
Are you supposed to be telling that now, Stu?
After the explosion of our cell phones yesterday, we've decided that half the world knows, so we're letting it.
Yeah, the information age has turned it out to be.
So who let it leak out?
One leak in the family, and
did Mama get excited?
Well, actually, I don't really want to throw the blame on anyone.
Yeah.
But
no worries here, buddy.
We know it wasn't me and CG. I'll put it like that.
They know who they are.
They know who they are, huh? Well, man, we're happy for you, Stu. We're glad that you're going to be stepping into a whole new aspect of life. You're going to be taking care of a living, breathing human being. That's going to be awesome.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, you better believe you will. You're going to love it, man. You're going to be a good daddy. So that's exciting news. You hadn't heard about Stu and CG. They are pregnant. And
I will say this.
Yes.
CG was not disappointed that it got out because she was having the hardest time keeping it a secret.
Surely not CG.
Biting her lip.
It's probably a good thing that it got out. I'll say that to take whoever it was off the hook.
Oh, you're so sweet, Stu.
Well, yeah.
Very sweet. Okay, so listen. Yesterday was a long day for me. If you've been a part of ministry long enough, you have absolutely had those days where you've wanted to kill somebody.
Disappointment.
Part of disappointment. Yeah. Okay. And here.
Amen.
Well, last night, I left some responsibilities with some students. I'm not going to name names. And I had this gut feeling as I was getting into my truck that it was not a good idea that I did that. So I got out of my truck and walked back to the youth building to just go ahead and tell the kids to leave the youth building so I could go ahead and lock it down. And I got in there, and the music was blaring to the top. I mean, they had turned the sound system all the way to 10, and it was some ungodly music being playing on there. I couldn't even, it was like, not that I care that what kind of music was being played on there. Wouldn't have mattered. Chris Tomlin could have been singing "How Great Is Our God," and up on 10 was not good. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was like
running speakers.
It was like it's like some weird jungle chant going on. Well, anyways, I walk in, and of course they get caught because they know they're not supposed to be back there touching the stuff, and faces. I mean, their mouths are hitting the ground, and man, I came unglued. I mean, I'm talking. Remove the stitches, man. I came totally unglued. Now, I held myself in check because I didn't call anybody any names. I was really proud of that. No names flied out of my mouth, but some anger did. But that was my fault for letting them stay in the building and doing it. So I put all the blame on myself. But anyways, it was one of those evenings. So I get home after that, and I remove all the students out of the building, and I'm just really, my blood pressure is like boiling out of my neck and everything. And I missed the race yesterday because of all the delays they had at the Great American Race, at the Daytona race. Okay, I get a call from JT, and he goes, "Have you watched the last part of the race yet?" I said, "No, don't tell me."
So, you know what I'm going to tell you.
Well, he just said, I said, "Don't tell me." So I'm watching, turn it on, and I find myself, those last 2 laps, I'm yelling at the TV, going, "Go, Junior! Go, Junior! Go!" I couldn't believe he was
spread along with Darrell Walter.
He was pouring through he just came out of nowhere to get second place, and I was so fired up. And Kathy comes in and says, "What are you doing? Why are you yelling at the TV?" I said, "I know it's pre-recorded, but it doesn't matter. I hadn't seen it. I know he can't hear me, and I know it's delayed. It was like past, but still, I was yelling at the TV." Did you watch the race, Stu?
I saw bits and pieces of it in between all of our. We had a Valentine's banquet yesterday, and it was busy, but a little bit of it. I noted there was some pothole issues.
Oh, it took them they started the race at noon, and it ended like at 7 o'clock last night. Yeah. They were patching holes in the pavement for like 3 hours yesterday.
The rain was
I did hear that Junior came from 9th to 2nd in a matter of a lap.
Well, he came from 10th. He was at a lap and a quarter. He was in 5th at the beginning of the last lap, but he came from 10th like a quarter of a lap before that. And we're talking, it's hard to get by in that crowd.
It was so strange. He put his car where he could not go, and it just, he got bumped.
He was flying.
Man, I was yelling at the TV because he hadn't been nowhere near the front hardly all day.
I think 8th was as close as he'd ever gotten, and he actually led because he stayed out one time during a pit stop.
So he got 5 points. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is not a race show, but I'm gonna tell you something. I forgot about all my troubles in that 30-minute span when I was watching that. So, anyways, these kids last night probably went home and told their parents what a mean person Jason was. And anyways, so my apologies out to the students who incurred the wrath last night, and which, hey, sometimes that happens, and I'm just glad that, because here's what normally happens is I hold it all in, and guess who gets the brunt of it? Kathy sometimes.
It's really angry.
And it's not her fault. Like, there's times where I should just go out and just take a baseball bat to a tree and I'd be fine. Just walk away. But it's like I need about 20 minutes to just kind of unwind and everything. And I was really, speaking of disappointment, I was really disappointed in the kids last night. But then again, I was really disappointed in myself for thinking that it was all going to be just fine. And I was like, Jason. So I'm looking on Facebook here, and I just ran across this little bit of information here about our friend Andy Baker, who I guess decided to put hot chocolate into his coffee. And it's a world of difference. Now, there's a mixture that we have learned. I'm not going to give away the hot chocolate secrets on air because I don't know, but JT does. And JT puts together a hot chocolate mix based upon the recipe from Lake Forest Ranch. It's incredibly good. And if you're drinking coffee and you put any kind of hot chocolate mix in there, depending on what your taste is like, I love it. It's an automatic mocha for me. But have you ever tried that, Stu?
Oh, goodness. I've tried it on store-bought coffee, not something I've roasted at home.
Oh, yeah. It's always different with roasted coffee.
Yeah, you'll notice that I posted on there that if it's LFR or hot chocolate, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Is a HRV, home roasting violation.
A home roasting violation. That's a new signal.
Yeah.
Some news or things that are going on with us. I don't think we've talked to
Yeah,
you.
we have
Told you
talked about
this.
it, yeah.
Is we're in the process of writing a business plan to start our own coffee roasting business, and
Yeah.
that's kind of. We hope people buy coffee from us because in a way you're supporting Taleo Ridge Ministries because you're supporting us so we can make a living and have time, hopefully, to do the things that God's called us to do here.
Yeah, we had
So-
a really good meeting last week and began to talk about what God is, what God is leading us to do and what our desires and passions have been. But I'm telling you, Stu, what we think ministry ultimately looked like when we first started with Taleo Ridge and when we were first talking about all this, we had ideas, we had direction, we had stuff we thought was going to happen, and I really, it's probably, if everything we've talked about up to this point, doing this roasting business just seems to settle with me a lot better than anything else we've looked at doing in the past, and I feel, more of a leading in this area than I have anywhere else, and I believe that we'll do a good job at it. There's a aspect of roasting. We've been roasting our own coffee for
Over 2
over
years
2
now.
years now. So, yeah, and I feel like there's going to be some, some benefits of that. So, if you're interested in coffee, we're going to throw a plug in. Please let us know. Let us hear from you. Give us some kind of indication that hey, I'll buy coffee from you, and so we will set up eventually we're going to set up a website. We'll set up all the stuff we need to set up.
Yeah, we got quite a ways to go before we get started, but
Yeah.
we're kind of investigating the market to just see who would buy coffee, to see what we could start with.
So pass the word, Stu, to the people in Hattiesburg, and we're going to start working on people here.
And we may even work a deal with people who bring their friends in
That's right.
to buy coffee every
Right.
week. So
Right. So that'd be cool.
you can earn free coffee, Stu.
Ooh, nice.
That's what I'm talking about.
See, then you wouldn't even have to roast your own.
Yeah. If things would have gone according to plan, we'd have had Stu and CG in Texas already, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
You coming for spring break, Stu?
No, I will be stuck in Hattiesburg for spring break.
Oh, well.
See, and whether it's our plans or not, whether we want it to happen or not, it's not up to us. Ultimately, it's up to God.
Yep.
It is in His direction. So part of what we are looking at today and what we want to talk about is looking at some of these disappointments along the way. And, we have this fear that we're not in the will of God a lot. People will, including myself, and I've had conversations with people about being in the will of God and what that looks like, and, and fearing that, I may not be doing the right thing, so God's plan might not work out in my life because I'm not doing the right thing.
That's a dangerous place to be, actually.
It's a dangerous place to be, and I didn't realize it was up to us to motivate God's plan.
Yeah.
Do we have any control over what God is going to do? In the sense of, hey, I make a decision to leave South Florida to come back to Texas for ministry, for doing ministry, right?
Yeah.
And it hadn't looked like what we thought it was going to look like.
No.
I mean, not one time when we first came back did I think about sitting at a table and doing a podcast
No.
as being a part of this. But we had ideas of what we wanted to do, but because those things didn't happen, doesn't mean we weren't in the will of God.
Because the will of God was for us to have a relationship with Him.
Right,
And we were doing that.
right.
So,
I think there's a. So where does the disappointment come from? when we get disappointed? Where does it come from? What's your ideas on it, Stu? It's a tough one, isn't it?
That is a very tough one. Wow. I guess maybe disappointment could be when we try to take it into our own heads. Try to do things on our own, and then we find out, well, that wasn't exactly what God had in store. What He had in store was much better, but it's still, I don't know. That's a tough one.
That's right. It is a tough one. It's I don't know. Sometimes when it's easy for me to want to blame somebody or something, a situation. It's easy for me to want to blame another person, maybe. I don't know. I feel like there's times where I felt like things should have gone a certain way, and when they didn't, the blame was, not in so much of, here lately, it hadn't been so much of me, what's wrong with me type stuff on the inside. But I know that's where a lot of it comes from. What have I done wrong to where God won't allow this to happen? What on the inside is causing this to go a certain way?
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know that we have the say on it, whether we're disappointed or not.
What was it Paul said? In abundance or in need, I've learned to be content.
It's Philippians 4.
Let's see here.
You ever been in need, Stewie?
Yes.
Are you currently in need?
Well, I'm constantly in need of Christ, but at the same time I have Him, and it's just one of those things. I don't know. I'm in need of a good cup of coffee right now. I know that.
Well, if you were in Texas, you'd have one.
But am I really in need if I'm in God's will? Other than have a relationship with Him. That's kind of where I'm stuck at, Is there really need?
Well,
Not really.
Not really. I mean, if you think about it, like, there's always, like, if this situation, if left up to myself, and if I don't see my need of God daily, if I don't see it daily, and I choose to do, follow my flesh, then, well, the result is going to be sin. It's going to be less than, but at the same time, I result in, if I say, hey, I'm just going to indulge the flesh, I'm going to do what I want to do, whatever. But I just feel like there's that dependence of God constantly in our life, not just for living, for breathing, for
even if I choose to go the wrong way, absolute opposite of what I know God's calling me to.
Right.
Does that change God being my total supply for everything?
No,
No.
it does not.
Does it change my position?
It does not change your position at all. No.
Absolutely not.
So, am I still in need?
Well, depending on,
I mean, I'm not enjoying God properly, but am I in need?
it's great. It's a great thought.
And so I think that's where the prodigal son, he wasn't enjoying the father, but he still, he had lack of nothing, basically. He still owned everything his father had. He wasn't enjoying it,
Right.
but it didn't change who he was. Didn't change what the Father would do for him.
Right. Yeah, well, most people would argue to the teeth and bone about that one.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know.
BP.
In about 10 years, let me know how that works out for him.
Well, I remember the day Rich Malone said that to me. I was so mad at Rich. Oh, my gosh, I was so mad at Rich. And, you know, we were discussing not necessarily this type of situation, but that's a true statement. Yeah, let us know how it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm still talking to myself that way. I mean, I still find myself being, you know, trying to go in and be the conqueror of my sin problem, going to be the conqueror of the situation that God has called me into. I've got control of this, God. You know, well, Jason, you don't have, you know, last year you only had, you know, 2 people come to salvation in your youth group. Well, what do you want me to do to change that? Do you want me to manufacture somebody to come in and do that for me? I could turn the whistle on and manipulate.
Yeah.
I'd be just as disappointed at that as I would, you know, as God is, you know. I don't know what is that? It scared me. No.
Jason's phone is
phone.
vibrating.
Oh,
Anyways,
dude.
so just thinking about that, I mean, I could try to manipulate, do all this nice stuff, but you know what? Ultimately, when it comes down to it, it's not up to me. And God's going to do His thing with me or without me. You know, it doesn't matter. He doesn't need me to do anything. So, interesting.
My question for you guys in this is, we'll go back to the prodigal son, and he was still his father's son when he was off doing what he was doing.
Exactly.
But he wasn't very satisfied with his father at that point.
No, because he was blinded to what he was doing.
Right. So how do we overcome that, being, I know that my needs are met in who I am in Christ. But sometimes the world just puts blinders on me and I'm not satisfied by Him.
Well,
And I look for other things to fill that satisfaction. You know what I mean?
who's responsible for opening your eyes? And let's throw this question out there.
Okay.
Which son was better off, the one that stayed or the one that left? Ultimately.
Ultimately, the one that left because his eyes were open.
Well,
Well, there
so
you go.
was the one that stayed doing better by staying than the one that left?
Oh,
Well,
he was still checking fifth, wasn't
his position never changed.
Neither one of them's position ever changed.
Well, neither one of the position changed. His surroundings never changed.
Yeah. But one of them learned the value of the surroundings.
Sure did. Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly. Interesting.
What is it? He who's forgiven much loves much.
he? Yes.
You forgive him, so he loves him.
You don't see that you've been forgiven.
What passage is that found? I keep skipping over it here.
What are you looking for?
The prodigal son.
Let's see.
This is
Is
something
it-
you should have looked up beforehand, Jason.
Well, we didn't even think about this one before.
It's in the Gospels. It's in the Gospels. Amen. Yeah. I can sit here and look for it all afternoon and I find it. That's how bad it is.
It's in Luke 15.
It's about something. Luke. The book of Luke.
Johnny.
I'm a master of search. I search for pods, which is the only place that word I think appears. It is in the whole Bible.
Pods, huh?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting.
He he would have gladly have filled his stomach with pods that the swine ate.
Wow.
But there was something I was thinking about earlier. The thing you wrote, talking about Lucy enjoying God
Today,
on Facebook today.
Yeah.
And this thought, tell that little story, and then I'll.
Well, I'm sitting at home today, and I'm doing some work on the computer. I'm getting prepared for Wednesday night, doing some cleanup stuff, and because I'm a rambler and I'd ramble too long. And anyways, I'm trying to shorten the messages, and I'm listening to Lucy, and I look over and she's listening to Praise Kids from Hillsongs on my wife's computer. And she's just sitting over there. She's not paying attention to anything else, but she's doing all the motions with her hands. She's just over there, and she can sing bits and pieces of the song. She's 2 years old, and she mumbles, but, God comes out of her mouth, Jesus, and she's doing the dance motions, and she claps with everybody at the very end, and, but you see her enjoying the music, and you see her responding, but she has no care in the world what people think of her, number one. And she's sitting over there, and I said, wouldn't it be, basically the quote was, I guess I can go look at it and give you the exact quote on Facebook here. And it's on my profile. Basically, it says, watching Lucy learn to enjoy God in her own way at the age of 2. She loves motions and singing, and singing the songs. If only we could capture that approach in our adult lives, is what I put on there.
Yeah.
Like she does. It was just a thought.
Well, that made me think about 2 verses, and one was, unless you come as one of these, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
And then the verse about as you receive the Lord Jesus, walk ye in him.
Walk ye in. Right.
If you receive him as a little child, isn't that saying we should walk in him as a little child?
Yes. Yeah. Pretty cool.
So that'd be a good thing to look at on your life, is to say, okay, am I approaching this like a little child would?
Very good.
Am I approaching this like a little child whose father said, hey, go do this?
Right. Yeah, she didn't walk away disappointed today.
Nope.
She just walked away and did her thing, man. That's the cool thing, is that she had no concern over whether or not she was worried about. I mean, of course, the 2-year-old's not going to be concerned over, a lot, but you just understood. When she walked away, she just went on about her business.
Yep.
She was just Lucy, just being herself. And Lucy can get into some trouble now. She don't have to be prodded that way. But the funny thing is it never affects how she responds, to us or to Daddy or to Mama or situations around her and stuff like that. But she loved sitting there doing that today. That was cool. There wasn't a care in the world elsewhere. Just like I love sitting here drinking coffee and talking on a microphone to JT and Stu. Not a care in the world outside of this right now.
And that should be the way it is all the time.
Right.
We only get caught up in disappointment and stuff when we start having expectations.
Mm-hmm. Right. Hey, I'd like to take the expectations out of life. That'd be so great. Let's just remove expectations out of everything and just continue to be ourselves.
That's kind of how a child lives. You ain't really got any. Children don't really have a lot of expectation for until the next moment.
Right.
Wow.
It makes driving around the corner a lot easier for me. It makes driving around the corner a lot easier for me to be able to approach a group of students and teaching them the words of life and not have the worry of performing and doing such things. I'm just going to be myself.
Think about this. The only time we have disappointment is when things are not the way we think they should be.
Mm-hmm.
which means they don't meet our expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what we're saying is God's not in control.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Ooh. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yep.
Stu,
Yes, sir.
that's fine. You don't have to worry, man. See, you got a child on the way, and God is going to, He's going to take care of you, man. You're not going to be disappointed. And you're never going to be. You never feel like you're going to be adequate enough, but you are. You know, you have all the tools you need already to be a good daddy, and that's the deal. And same with being a youth pastor and pointing students to Christ. We all have the tools. It's not about us. It's about us just transferring and manifesting the life that God has given us,
Right.
and doing it as a result of that, not as a means to it. So, very cool. Good words, man.
Yes, sir.
Good day.
Good day. Yeah. Well, this is Coffee and Conversations. We are glad that you have joined us once again. And to our listeners in Italy, in South Florida,
We've gone international.
we've gone international.
Wow.
And to those who are in Mississippi listening and in Texas, we thank you very much. We want to hear from you. Let yourself be made known, and we want to hear from you what your thoughts are and how God is speaking to you, so that we can interact and beat off some of those things. We love you guys. Thanks, Stu, for being with us today. JT.
Till next time.
We'll see you next Monday.